They said, I can do what I please. You'll never succeed. You're too young. You got no money. You don't have enough followers. Are you crazy? Yeah, I heard all of it.
Yeah. They tried to box me in early, told me stay in my lane, repeat grade suspensions, punished for thinking my way, pull your socks up, head down, don't question the line, but I never fit the system, I was busy redesigning mine, we think different, 1% wired, rules with suggestions, not limits, just fuel for the fire, told to behave to conform, to keep quiet and play small, but we weren't built for permission, we were built to build it all.
They said I can, I said I will, just watch me.
This is Monday Night Live, we're going legendary. We ain't built to be ordinary. Catch me live on LinkedIn and YouTube, dropping value for you and you and you and you. Together let's make it, together let's move. This is Monday Night Live, we don't follow trends, we set them, we don't wait for luck, we weaponize momentum. I didn't fit in the school, didn't fit in the room, didn't fit the mold, so I built something new. Now clients change lives, businesses transform, almost $1 billion built from strategies born, leads coming daily, deals getting closed, systems at scale while you're still chasing hope. This ain't hustle porn, this is structure and truth, where relationships beat algorithms and views, likes don't pay bills, let's say it louder, relationships do, that's real power. Most businesses chasing flings, one night stands, we're building families, trust, long-term plans. If you know the difference, you're my type of people.
I still face pressure, I still face doubt. Every damn day I figure it out, but I was built for this weight, built for this fight. This isn't luck, it's decades and nights. Nathaniel Bibby, name holds weight. Bibby Media Group, yeah, that's legacy in the making. 25 years in the game, scars and receipts. Thailand, Hong Kong, worldwide, learn how business really beats. Sales is human, marketing's trust. No shortcuts here, just skill time and us. Let's get down to business. Drop it in the comments. Monday Night Live, this is Monday Night Live. Show up weekly, change your story. Come for the tactics, stay for the identity. This is Monday Night Live. 1 year from now, you won't recognize your business. Different thinking, different standards, different results. We ain't built to be ordinary, we're built to be undeniable, and you motherfuckers can't stop me. Drop it in the comments. Pull up live, let's build something real. Monday Night Live, Monday Night Live. This is Monday Night Live. Show up weekly, change your story. Come for the tactics, stay for the identity. This is Monday Night Live. 1 year from now, you won't recognize your business. Different thinking, different standards, different results. We ain't built to be ordinary. We ain't built to be ordinary. We ain't built to be ordinary.
Mic check. Mic check. Mic check, check, check. It's working. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Is my audio working? Welcome back to Monday Night Live. It is a special Christmas episode. What do you think of my new intro? It goes on for a while, doesn't it? It's amazing what AI can do, isn't it? Yeah, write some lyrics and it comes back like just magic, absolute magic. Merry Christmas. Who we got here? Hey, Hasibul, welcome. My man. Mohammed's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Now, welcome back. How you doing? I hope you're feeling good, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you are on holiday, which is understandable. I think I thought today was my last day, but I've just been informed I've got 2 meetings tomorrow. So there you go. Today, I want to talk about the year, what the highlights were of 2025, and what it looks like for 2026. Now, I don't know where you are in the world, but let me know in the comments where you are, because I'm in Perth, and I tell you what, it is hot here. It is hot here. We got more comments coming here. Hi, Eunice. How are you today? Hey, my man, how are you? Welcome. Hey, thanks, bro. Thank you. Hey, I tell you what, I've got a few tracks. I don't know if I'm going to stick with that one or not. We'll see. Hey, most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they disappear, right? They give up. They go quiet when things get uncomfortable. I think that you guys, especially some of you that I've seen coming here week after week, you really need to give yourself a pat on the back, because these days consistency is just so rare, isn't it? People go quiet when things get uncomfortable. They stop posting, they stop sending the DMs, they stop doing the fundamentals when confidence dips or they get too busy. It's one way or the other, right? Either the confidence is low or the confidence is high. They tell themselves that they'll come back later. Now, this time of year, it happens more than ever, right? Oh, everyone's away over the holidays. We'll come back mid-January and we'll start doing everything then. I've been doing this a long time. Consistently, in the holiday period over Christmas, we get 35% more engagement than the rest of the year. These aren't statistics just that I've experienced. These are actually statistics that have been released by, I think it was HubSpot. LinkedIn have also said that lead generation forms convert 22% better over Christmas. I think I'm going to have to take this off. It's too hot here. But you like my Christmas hat? How cool is that? How good is Amazon Prime? My goodness. I lost my place now. So yeah, I think that those of you that have been consistent, I just want to acknowledge you. Okay, you know, people are waiting for clarity, like they're waiting for Santa Claus. But clarity doesn't arrive overnight down the chimney, does it? Clarity is built in motion, not in hiding. A lot of the times, when you don't know which direction to go, you actually find out through action. You know, I've got a 3-year-old daughter, and she changes her favorite ice cream every few months, right? You know, I think it's probably chocolate right now, but she didn't know it was chocolate till she tried all the other flavors. Does that make sense? So sometimes when you don't know what direction to go in, it's just a matter of trying all the flavors. This year, 2025, what an interesting year. I tell you what, I really pushed myself this year with being consistent. I don't know if any of you saw it, but in January, I wrote an article, and it was called "The Reason That I Disappeared from LinkedIn." And I'll let you in on a little bit of the story because it's to do with Monday Night Live. And what happened is, about 3 years ago, I decided to take a break not from my business, but from posting so aggressively. Like, I had a couple of posts that were repurposed that went up, but I was basically just in maintenance mode when my daughter was born. And the plan was to take 6 months off, spend, you know, that special time with her, and then come back. Now, at around 6 months, you know, between 6 months and a year, we noticed that she wasn't hitting some milestones. And it turns out that she has a disability. She had cerebral palsy. And so, you know, it was a very big shock, as you can imagine, at the start. But it didn't take long for us to get into action mode and start doing everything we can to help support her. So anyway, 6 months, you know, started to drag out, and it became 2 years. And that's when I came back, you know, November, December last year. And I hadn't done a Monday Night Live episode since COVID. And LinkedIn events, I don't know how many of you are using it, but it's not the same as it used to be. Like, when I started doing Monday Night Live, it would just alert everyone. Not everyone could go live. I was one of the few creators that could. So I'd get thousands and thousands of people there every single episode without doing any promotion. So these days, you know, you need to invite people. Otherwise, they're just not going to know about it. That's the way LinkedIn Lives are structured. You've got to invite people. And so there's quite a bit more work involved in doing a regular weekly show. Most people don't do it weekly. Like, if they're going to do it, they'll do it monthly maximum. So you've got a bit more time to promote it. So weekly has been a challenge this year. Now it's 52 weeks in a year. I think I've missed, Storm would know because Storm comes to every episode, Storm Dawson in the comments. But I think I've missed 2, maybe maximum 3 episodes, you know, and they were unavoidable. But there's been times when it's been challenging to show up. I remember once my microphone, no, it wasn't my microphone. Sorry, it was my camera. My camera fell on the ground and broke 5 minutes before I had to go live. managed to borrow one very quickly and get it set up, and it, no one noticed. But there's things like that happen. When you've got a set time each week, it's a challenge to be consistent. And that's part of the reason why I do it. Because for me, I need that discipline to be consistent. So those of you that have been consistent, I take my hat off to you, literally take my hat off to you, because I know it's not easy. Sometimes it's just about showing up. Some of these episodes of Monday Night Live, some of them are great, some of them are okay. But if I show up, I'm happy with the result, because you don't need to be perfect. You need to be present, right? Not every piece of content is going to be perfect, but the important thing is that you're doing it. So good on you for doing that if you are. Now, we've got Nigeria in the house, ladies and gentlemen, and South Australia. David, where in South Australia are you? I mean, I love it. It's a beautiful spot in the world. South Australia often gets overlooked. Some of the best wines in Australia. Clarity is built in motion, not hiding. 100%. We've got India in the house, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need momentum either before you start. Momentum comes because you start. But that is what attracts customers. People are attracted to momentum. So what does that mean exactly? Well, you don't have to be posting about something huge. It doesn't have to be $1 million transaction. It doesn't have to be that, you've opened a third office. It could be something very small, It could be something very small. It could be getting your first client. It could be getting your business cards printed. It could be the birthday of your business. I used to laugh at people that used to do that sort of thing, like post about the birthday of their business. And then I tried it and I realized it actually inspires people and it shows momentum, because the more you post about whatever you're doing in your business or your client's business, it shows activity and people are attracted to that. It's actually neuroscience. Oh, by the way, I'm having a beer. Did I already have a sip and not even acknowledge it? I thought because it's a Christmas party, I must have a drink. So cheers. By the way, if you need to go to the fridge and grab yourself a drink for the Monday Night Live Christmas party, go for it. Go for it. Once back in the day, 5 years ago, when I was doing Monday Night Live, a guy messaged me and he said, I want to sponsor Monday Night Live. And he had he made wine, and so he sent me all these cases of wine every couple of weeks, and that was fantastic. I was drinking red wine every time I did Monday Night Live. That was brilliant. So yeah, if you're here tonight live, a week out from Christmas, you've had a big year. Your inbox is still yelling at you. You've already done the hardest part. You showed up. I'm not going to waste your time tonight. I'm going to make sure I deliver value. And what I'm going to do is get you ahead of all those people that are going to have a break until mid-January. That alone will put you ahead of all your competitors. That runway at the start of the year is so valuable because most people don't do it. It makes all the difference. If you set yourself up with a plan and then you start executing your plan in January, you'll be way ahead of your competition. That's how you win the year, especially on social media. Hey, by the way, if you're new here, welcome back. This is Monday Night Live. This is the last episode of 2025. We made it. I'm Nathaniel Bibby. I got a company called Bibby Media Group. We've helped generate over $750 million worth of sales using LinkedIn strategies over the last 11 years. I've trained over 40,000 professionals. So in this show, I just give you marketing strategy, LinkedIn insights, business psychology, which is more of a recent thing, but stuff that you can use and execute on, because my whole thing is knowledge is useless without execution. So I want you to go out there and execute. And so I deliver this for free every week. And I love doing it. This is something I'm really passionate about. A lot of my clients do drop in from time to time, but this is something that I do for a much wider audience than just my clients, right? Because to be quite frank, there's only so many companies that can afford to get consulting and training from somebody with this much experience. It's cost thousands of dollars, right? So to be able to do this and deliver it to people that may not have that money to invest, who are starting out on their journey, and then watch them grow, has been really rewarding for me over my journey in business. And literally, it's the guys that started with me 5 years ago, they used to watch me every Monday while they're making their dinner or whatever. I look at them now and the businesses are absolutely killing it, and it just makes me so proud to be a small part of that, at least. So tonight's a Christmas special. I'm curious to know if any of you are doing any Christmas marketing. It's actually a really cool time of year to do marketing and promotion because of the engagement metrics that I mentioned, but also you can use that Christmas angle to put a slant on things. I was having a look at some of the, some of the promotions that businesses are running online around Christmas, and you get some great ideas. I mean, there's some fantastic ideas and some fantastic creatives out there. And it's a time to reflect. It's a time for gratitude, I think. Think about it. Who this year, your clients, your partners, people you've learned from, your team, who deserves a thank you? Because this is the time of year to do it. A genuine thank you for their support this year. It goes a long way, guys. It goes a long way. I would suggest that you all do a post to show some gratitude for the people that have supported you this year. People have inspired you. One of the other trends I've seen happening, and I haven't had time to implement it myself, but I think it's really cool. I'd love to see it if any of you guys do it. Let me know in the comments if you do it. But have you seen any of these LinkedIn profiles who just like, all of a sudden they're like a Christmas profile? They just like deck their profile up with Christmas theme. And they've got a hat on and the banner's different and everything. It's really awesome. I've seen a few of them. I didn't have time to prepare some examples, but maybe we could have some examples from the audience and we can show it in the new year. All right, guys. Who else we got here? Andy in the house, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the UK. Who knows where Andy is? He could be in New York. He could be in Vietnam. He's a jet setter, that man. CPA breakfast. There we go. Okay, I've got my wine. Let's party. Oh, look out. Storm Dawson's ready to party, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers to everyone. What's going on here? 10 a.m. here. That's more than early. 6 p.m. in Perth, mate. What's the difference between business and brand? Kindly use a company as an example because I see different perspectives on LinkedIn. I think that a business, well, and this is just from my perspective. Obviously, there's definitions that are out there, but the difference that I see it is a business is an ecosystem, right? An ecosystem has to support itself in order to be able to deliver value long term, right? So what I'm saying is you can't just post content for the sake of posting content. That would be like going to the supermarket, lining up all of the Coca-Colas on the shelf and not charging for them. Like it just doesn't work long term. So you need an ecosystem, like they provide some money or whatever, and you get the value in return. And that's what a business is. If your business isn't making money, it's not a business yet, right? A business needs to be an ecosystem. Now, a brand is something that we all have, whether we like it or not. A brand is a reputation. It's a story, right? So when you talk about branding, whether it's personal branding or company branding, it's about the story that people are going to share when they come across your brand. And people spend so much time focusing on the logo and the color of the logo. That's such a small part of your branding. The only reason that you have consistent colors and a logo is just for repetition and familiarity. Do you know the companies that don't have to do that and focus on their brand and their colors? The people that have a personal brand. Why? Because they always show their face, and that shows familiarity. Now, since we're babies, we are trained neurologically, like we are designed to focus on the human face. So you're always going to get more initial attention if you use a personal brand. Obviously, you can't say the same if you're like next to an Apple logo because it already has familiarity. But what I'm saying is if you're building familiarity, you do it quicker and easier than with a face. Now, I think that a brand is not necessarily defined by the business, if that makes sense. Because a lot of people make the mistake of just defining their business's brand by going into a boardroom and throwing around ideas, get the whiteboard out, and then they're like, okay, this is our brand. What I'm going to suggest you do is start with the customer. In fact, do you know who should be in that boardroom with you? 4 or 5 of your top customers, right? They should be the ones defining your brand because they're the ones that are going to be sharing the stories. I did a research. I got an external party to come in and do a research study on my clients and previous clients. This was a while ago now, a few years ago. And he would call them all up and he would ask them a bunch of questions, and we would, look at the results, and we would know which areas, clients were enjoying, which areas we needed to work on. So one of the questions they asked is, what's the what is the biggest reason what's the number one reason you liked working with Nathaniel? What was the most valuable part of it? And the number one answer by a landslide was Nathaniel's willingness to open up his network to his clients and introduce us to people. That was the number one thing. So you can imagine, like in my proposal, it's all about leads and your profile optimization, and you're going to get more views. There's no mention of like introductions to people in my referral network, but it's the thing that people say is the most valuable about working with me. It's really valuable information, right? This is really important when you talk about brand. Like you can really portray that and talk about how you're all about relationships, building trust, and networking and facilitating introductions. One person that I tell you what is really good at that in Perth is Storm Dawson, who's here, and she's just dropped in straight away. It's not what you say you are; it's what others feel, remember, and trust after interacting with you. We've all got one. You don't even have to have a social media account to have a brand, right? 100%. Keep the comments coming, guys. Keep the questions coming. I really appreciate that question. That was a cool topic, Fatima, to move on to. I'll tell you what, I want you to think of it like this. Monday Night Live session, more like we're just sitting around having a conversation. So you can drop in the comments and ask me questions as we go. In fact, we're having a Christmas lunch where everyone's getting a bit too honest, right? Marketing truth starts slipping out. But if you're watching live, drop a comment. And if you're watching the replay, drop a comment, because I'm going to be coming back here on Christmas Eve when I've had a lot more beers and responding to the comments. And I'll be calling people out as we go as well. If you have questions, let me know. And if you have questions specifically about 2026, please drop them in the comments, because I'm sure everyone will get a lot of value out of it. All right. Okay, so I will be mispronouncing some of your names. I do that a lot. It's not personal. It's tradition here on Monday Night Live. Okay, so let's talk about what actually mattered this year. Okay, it's not what sounded good, not what got screenshot, but what actually worked. So consistency beats intensity. Like the people who grew didn't post once, go viral, and retire in Bali. They showed up repeatedly, imperfectly, honestly. And the thing is, you don't really see the posts that don't do that well, because they don't do that well, right? So you only normally see the best stuff. Sometimes I've been posting Monday Night Lives for weeks, and then one episode goes really bananas, and people are like, oh, I was wondering when you were going to start doing Monday Night Live again. I've been doing it every week, mate, but it just didn't get to you. Okay. You're going to need to get people to, you're going to need to customize your own newsfeed by engaging on people's content. So it's really important that you also are proactive with who you're following. And then when you get value engaging with them, and also like targeting your prospects and commenting on their stuff is very important now. People talk a lot about this. I do believe it's important. However, I don't think it's the ultimate goal. It's just like when I say likes don't pay the bills. I don't think comments pay the bills either. They're part of, like, they're useful, but you've got to be measuring return on investment. And if everything's not mapping back to return on investment, then there's a problem. And you've got to look at identifying where in the process the problem is, so that you can optimize it. That's why you have to measure every step. If you're going to do comments, how many are you doing a week? If you're going to do DMs, how many are you doing a week? How many connection requests are you sending? So you're not sitting there because it's so easy to get distracted on social media, isn't it? So yeah, look, I mean, it's just like a gym membership, okay? You're not going to build any muscles if you don't do it consistently. The second most important thing that we learned this year, and it's going to continue into next year, is that trust outperforms tactics, hacks, right? The accounts that won weren't the cleverest. They weren't gaming the algorithm like it owed the money. They were the clearest. They knew what they stood for. They knew what problem that they solved, and you trusted them, which, fun fact, is still how humans decide to buy things, right? I'll ask you a question. Drop in the comments. Let me know what you think the answer is. Why do people make purchasing decisions? Is it because of logic or emotion? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Logic or emotion, guys? What do you think? What do you think you would do if you have to restart for today? Again, that's a great question. I'm really glad you asked that. I love that. So in January, if you go to the Bibby Media Group company page, I'm running this webinar, which is honestly, it's the answer to that question. If I had to start from nothing, I would focus on referral partners. So I'm thinking, what professionals or what companies have the same clients, same target market that I do, but they don't compete with me? And I would just go meet with them. I'd find the ones on the top of Google. So when I started my business, for example, I would look for a business coach in Melbourne on Google. And the guy at the top, I called him up and I said, hey, I run a marketing agency. I'm looking for a business coach that I can refer my clients to. Can we have a coffee? And I went and had a meeting with him. And he was great, right? Like he had a lot of partners. And so he had a process. And so I learned about his process. And one of the things he had was a form that all of his partners had to fill out to apply to be a partner. So it's very prestigious to be his partner. He's top of Google, business coach, whatever. So you had to fill out this form. And at the end of the form, it said, can I have 2 or 3 of your clients as references so I can give them a call and just find out, what they say about you? I thought, this is genius. So I gave him 2 or 3 clients, and then I called the clients up and said, did the business coach call you? They said, yeah, well, don't worry, I put in a really good word for you. And I said, what else did he ask you? Did he ask you anything about business coaching? And they said, yeah. Yeah, he asked me if I had a business coach, whether I considered it, and asked me if I wanted a free 30-minute coaching session. So you can imagine this guy's getting referrals straight after he meets a business partner. And he might have talked to like 10 or 20 marketing agencies. Now, he's generally only going to refer to one of them, but who do you think he's going to refer to? It's going to be the guy that sends him the most and the best referrals, right? So I was there trying to send him more clients just so that I could be the top one. And I still get referrals from that business coach today. That's what I'd be doing. That's what I'd be focusing on if I was starting out from scratch. The third thing I want to say is personality. Personality becomes the advantage. It became the advantage this year, didn't it? Because as AI got louder, like our news feed is just getting filled up with all this like impersonal rubbish, and its content has become in its basic form dirt cheap. Anyone can create carousels or write copy now that's perfect, and images and even videos. It's so perfect, isn't it? Smoother, shinier, more like, it's just amazing. And the most human voices stood out so much more just because they're authentic. It's not about necessarily being imperfect, because when I talk about this, a lot of people will go out and they just change their ChatGPT prompt to say, make sure that you give me 2 grammar mistakes in every caption, right? So that's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is having your own unique voice. So if I ever use AI to help me write something, I make sure that the AI has a pre-custom prompt, or it knows that the parts that you don't change are the actual wording and the way that I speak. Sure, you don't say the ums and the ahs and all that stuff. I understand that. But it doesn't change the way I structure a sentence, because the key to communicating well on social media is to write how you speak, not to write like you're writing a business report. A lot of people get this wrong, right? And the vulnerability, those authentic stories, is something that AI can't replicate, Like, I think it's worthwhile, if you're writing an email or even a post, you could even just start it with some little tidbit about, what you did this morning, or, you've just ran inside because it started raining and you wanted to write this email. Those things are really becoming more valuable because they show that it's authentic and it's human. There's nothing worse. How funny is it when you get those text messages that are like, how are you planning to, grow your marketing this year? Or there's something they're selling, right? And then they're like, this is from Tony, not a bot. And then it's like, reply this to opt out. So like it is a bot, but that's their script. This is what the world's coming to, right? It stopped being about how many people followed you, and it became about the quality of the people that followed you, right? Who's following you and who stayed? And that's why tonight's important, because Monday Night Live doesn't work without you guys. You know, like not passive viewers, participants. That's why it's live. Because people who show up live after long days, who comment instead of lurk, people who engage, they ask smart questions, they learn faster, and they are taking action, right? A lot of people who are just consuming content on LinkedIn, you've got to ask yourself, are you in the audience of the stadium? Are you in the crowd, or you're on the pitch? Because you're not doing both. You're one or the other. I made a decision very on with social media that I wasn't going to be in the audience. I was going to be on the pitch. And that means being active. Doesn't mean you have to post all the time, but being active, sending the DMs, deciding who you send invitations to, posting content imperfectly. Maybe don't run it past ChatGPT this time. Post it straight from the gut, right? What happens is you actually learn quite faster. I'm a bit concerned, actually, that when these kids these days grow up, whether or not they'll actually develop the skills to know what good writing looks like, right? Because you've actually got to have some boundaries in place with AI. And I think every business, doesn't matter if you're a one-man band or, you know, you've got a million employees, I think every business has to have an AI policy. What will I use AI for and what won't I use AI for? Just could be one page. But one thing you got to be careful with is when you're talking to your customers, when you're on video, or let's say you're calling a customer or you're answering the phone, if you're like a medical practice and you're the person that answers the phone, that's a trust building exercise, right? Direct to customers. That's very important. You're the relationship building there. If you're relationship building and you're building trust, does it make sense to send a robot in your place? I did a post, what was it, a week ago, about the doorman principle, right? So hotels thought they were geniuses when they learned how to automate opening and closing of the front door, because they're like, we don't have to pay these doormen anymore. And so they improved efficiency by 25%, but nobody seemed to look at the impact that would have on the bottom line, because let's face it, a hotel doorman's not just a doorman, is he? He's the first person that you see when you get to the hotel, right? So if he's got a bit of personality, he's the one that welcomes you. Okay. Now, if kids are running out the front door of the hotel, he's the ones that make sure they don't run onto the road. Okay. If somebody wants to know where they can park, or somebody wants to know directions to the hotel, to the restaurant, he's there to help. So he's doing a lot more. They found that the hotels are actually able to charge a premium because they have a doorman. Just purely from the fact that people see the doorman standing there when they walk past, it makes it seem more premium. So the businesses that chased efficiency and got rid of the doorman, they lost ultimately. What they should have been doing is going to the doorman, giving him a raise and telling him that he mattered, telling him that he was important. So just think about the doorman principle when you're implementing AI in your business, because a lot of the products out there are like, we'll chat to your customers for you. We'll be the first person, we'll just take care of that part. It's a very important part. I recently did not do business with the company because I could not get past Helen. Helen was a robot, an AI agent on the phone. I told the company this. I sent them an email and I said, I don't know if Helen's going to reply to this email, but I said, the reason I'm not doing business with you is couldn't get past Helen. They said she was new. But they're losing customers they don't even know they're losing, okay? So anyway, so when we talk about 2026, here's what actually matters. Show up as yourselves. Show up as yourselves. No pretending, no copying, no guru energy, no perfection. The audience is made up of business owners doing the work. Parents juggling life, people building something. People are going to relate to your humanity. Like, it's no longer human versus human. I'm sorry, but it's just not. It's human versus machine. You're not going to outsmart AI. AI is already smarter than all of us, isn't it? It's just how we use it. So the one thing that AI doesn't have is humanity, and that's what I'm going to encourage you all to focus on next year as the most important part of your entire marketing strategy. Leaning into your personal side. That means sharing some anecdotes about your personal life. not be showing up as you. Very important. Okay. And the algorithm is also implementing AI now. So what's going to happen is there's a shift. So consumers were using AI, the people that are on the platforms were using AI, and now the algorithms are catching up, and the AI in the LinkedIn algorithm is going to be smarter than any AI that you can use, right? So what does that mean? Well, you have to ask yourself, what is the LinkedIn algorithm ultimately looking for? Because if you know what it's looking for, then you can know how to optimize to cater for it, can't you? So the goal of any social media site is to keep people on the platform longer. They have something they measure called session time. If you ever watch CNBC or Squawk Box, I'm sure Andy does. They actually, when they have the CEO of LinkedIn on there, one of the metrics that he's constantly talking about is session time, and that will affect the stock price. Okay, so that's the average amount of time that a user will spend on somewhere like LinkedIn. So that's what they're looking for, but they're looking for creators and people that keep people engaged longer. So they're actually looking at dwell time the most, how long people are spending on your posts, and then who are the people that are spending on your posts so they know to show them content again and again. Now, it used to be that you could trick the algorithm through certain hacks, using certain keywords, getting people, to comment, to get things, making your post longer so they spend more time on there, whatever. These days, the algorithm's smarter than a human. So that means it knows how to give people exactly what they want, if that makes sense. Pretty close to it. So you're actually going to do better if you just align your objective with the platform and give people what they want, add value, decide who you're going to target, how you're going to help them, the problem you're going to solve, and you just lean into that and stop thinking about the tricks and the hacks and the hashtags. Because that way, every time there's an algorithm update, and there'll be a lot of them with AI involved, you don't have to change the strategy because it's already aligned with the objective of the platform. If your reach drops, then LinkedIn's numbers will drop as well because you've got the same objective. Therefore, it'll come back. So one of the things I want you all to think about injecting into your content next year is honesty, humor. It's not one thing, is it? I shouldn't have said one thing. I wanted you. It's like 3 or 4 things. So humor, honesty, curiosity, and generosity. Generosity is rare, man. Everyone wants to extract value. I'm suggesting dump value so it's uncomfortable. I'm giving so much value, right? And you just have to let go of the outcome. I promise you it works if you stick at it. And when you feel like it's not working, that's when you need to go harder. That's how you build a brand, build trust. And when I say curiosity, it's about being curious about finding out the audience, because that way you really learn to understand them. If you're speaking to somebody who doesn't become a client, I'm really curious. Do you mind just sharing a couple of things with me as to why you didn't become a client? What are the real reasons? Contact your ideal client and say, hey, I built this new service, this new product. I want to get some feedback from an expert in the industry. You look like you're really accomplished and you've got a great background. Would you mind just answering a couple of questions or give me 5 minutes of your time? You'd be amazed how many people will actually help you, especially if they're business leaders as well, entrepreneurs. When I started my career, when I was in my 20s, it was like I just got so much help from. It's harder when you get a bit older. Not that I'm that old, but I'm getting on a bit now. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to the comments. Ladies and gentlemen. Curly one. There is a blurry line coming our way with customers wanting instant answers versus waiting for a human. I think it says more about where humanity is headed. The instant gratification that will make up the majority and the impact this has on our business. It's true. Do you know what, though? And there's always been this trend towards people wanting that instant fix and getting rich quick and all that stuff. Like, what people want things yesterday, right? What's actually happening now is like we're able to deliver things at that speed, aren't we? With AI, if you've got the right resources, you can deliver at that speed. What's actually becoming more rare is that patient and slower, that human connection. I always think about the experience of having a tradesman come around to fix my windows. It was like a couple months ago now, and he, saying, "Oh, a robot will be doing this for me soon. I won't be out of a job." And I genuinely meant this when I said to him, I said, "I'd pay extra for you to come, mate." That human touch, that human connection is so valuable. And I think people are going to start to realize how valuable that is. We've just been obsessed, haven't we, with efficiency. We've been obsessed with efficiency in the last 20 years. It's all been about efficiency, making things more efficient. I think there's going to come a point where people are like, hang on, it's not just about efficiency, right? It's about connection. So, I started this year and I knew AI was important. And I remember doing my first AI webinar, and I was just like recommending the best AI tools. There's some good ones. SuperGrow is great for LinkedIn. Magic Post. What else do I recommend? Opus Clip is great for videos. And then I realized that it just hit me like a ton of bricks after I did a couple of webinars about it. And I got asked to speak on a panel. I was like, you know what? Everyone's going to be doing this. It's become easier to stand out. The biggest AI hack there is, don't use it. Not for this. I mean, you could obviously use it. I use AI every day. But when you're building trust with your audience, you have to be very careful about delegating it to AI. Don't lose that connection. Don't lose that humanity, okay? You've got to be comfortable showing up as yourself in the first place for that to even work, okay? Because a lot of people are pretending anyway, so it doesn't really matter if they use AI or not. But just think about it. If 65% of people posting are using AI, and the goal is to stand out, because you can't fit in and stand out at the same time, then obviously the easiest way to stand out is just not to use it, right? So we spend all our lives learning how to write perfect grammar. Now I'm saying unlearn it. Write how you speak. There should have been a unit in my marketing degree about writing conversationally. I didn't do one unit in my whole marketing degree. I was at university for 5 years on online marketing, and I was already ordering pizzas. I remember ordering pizzas on the internet. It was a dial up, but I was ordering pizzas. Now I sound really old. But isn't that interesting? I'm learning how to buy that way before I learn how to market that way. The universities are so far behind now, like schools and universities. There's no way that they're equipping graduates to be able to come into this industry, this world, right? So it's just become a completely different milestone. I don't even know why they're doing exams if everyone's got access to AI. There's a different set of skills that we need, okay? And I think that a good competitive edge is actually having individuals, people, and not just necessarily AI. Because at the moment, AI is not really making things that much cheaper. They're making things more efficient, but it's not that much cheaper. Okay. Inside every great audience, there's always someone who represents, the spirit to the extreme. And I with this last episode of the year, I just want to shout out Storm Dawson here. She says, obsessed with efficiency. I say obsessed with productivity. Same thing. So Storm has only joined Monday Night Live since I started posting again. And she's been to, I would say, every episode, right? And I remember, if I asked for volunteers for, question and answer episode, Storm would put her hand up, one of the first to volunteer. She's been to pretty much every single episode. And I said at the start of the year, I said, if you go to every Monday Night Live, I promise you that in a year's time, your business will look completely different. And yes, I think that she's led by example. Someone like that she's made a huge impact on LinkedIn, and she's a networker. And now she actually helps me. She's got a virtual assistant business, virtual assistant business, EA business. And so she actually helps me as my assistant as well for Bibi Media Group. So it's amazing that, to be able to hire somebody that's been that consistent to show up, and that consistency, it's pretty rare, right? And that need to want to add value and to keep growing. And so I think Storm, well done. You've done a lot of progress, and you added a lot of value. And I'm proud that you're working at Bibi Media Group. And by the way, that opportunity is not luck; it's proximity, right? That's what happens when you don't just consume content; you participate. you show up, consistently, and you will network. Guess who just won top voice for Yasmin Alex's community? Me, right? I didn't do that by accident. I decided at the start of the year that Yasmin Alec was going to be a strategic partner for my business, right? So, of course, I was proactive about being a part of everything he was doing. And I just won top voice for his community, which means like I introduced most people to Link Up. So Link Up by Yasmin, spelled Jasmine, linkupbyjasmine.com is great for LinkedIn creators. Yasmin's got 300,000 followers, but he's a great content creator. He's a creator. So you go there if you want to learn how to write really awesome content, storytelling, and he's got a certain way of doing things. I don't do things necessarily always the same way, but if I can learn 2 or 3 things per year from him, and hopefully he can learn some stuff from me as well, then we can grow together. And I think that's really important. You never become the best at something if you're not willing to learn. So yeah, so good on you, Storm. I wanted to shout you out and just say, fantastic effort for being consistent. Now, let's get real for a second. Most people didn't stop this year because of algorithms. They stopped. Why? Because of emotion. They stopped because a post didn't do well, or someone said something, or they sounded, too confident, or they felt that it was risky or whatever, or they got distracted. That's not a marketing problem, is it, ladies and gentlemen? That's a psychology. Humans avoid short-term discomfort, even when long-term gain is obvious, So, if you're thinking start fresh in January, I want you to get started now. If you go to bibimediagroup.com, you will find a section called Shop, and in there is a LinkedIn planner. It's about 20 odd pages, and it helps you define your content pillars. It's got a content calendar in it. It is a product. I think it's $90 or something. It's not expensive. I encourage you to go check it out. Go get it. You have to plan. You have to plan a year if you want to win, right? You've got to stay consistent. Map out your content pillars, and then there's a formula for mapping out your content topics. And then I want you to batch create content. Don't create it every day when you wake up. Create 30 posts at once. Have a system for doing it so they're consistent and they all look the same and they're all the same quality. And you've got the hooks and the story. And you're getting people to engage and you're moving people down the funnel and it's turning into sales. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. A lot of you will ignore planning. How do I know that? Because I do. Entrepreneurs have this thing called ADHD. No, I'm joking. A lot of us like the shiny objects and we're great at starting things, not great at finishing them. So we're not necessarily good planners. Not everyone, but some, myself included, I'm not a good planner. Build communities because it's most helpful in the future. Mohammed, you're not wrong. If you think about it, with all the AI that's coming on board, it's going to be harder for people to find you because there's going to be so much competition. So you need a community that you can move people onto other platforms if you have to, right? Simple and powerful. Show up yourself, pretty much. Nail it. Hey, guys, and by the way, and Storm's just nailed it here. I want you to do a post this week about what your key takeaway was from Monday Night Live. What you should do is take a picture, a selfie with me in the background with my hat on, and talk about showing up as yourself. I think it's so important. Everything we talked about this year kind of sat with that rhythm for those of you that have been here longer, and it's all about nurturing. Find, nurture, connect, engage. I never had that nurture phase in there. For the last 10 years, I added it. Find, nurture, connect, engage. What does nurture mean? Well, it means engaging on people's comments. When I started engaging on people's comments before I sent a connection request, I went from 35% conversion rate to 88% conversion rate. That's like 9 in 10 people accepting your invite. Incredible. I celebrate wins like that. All right. So you're not chasing people like a salesperson because you've already engaged in their content. Same with content. Hook. Write this down. Hook, story, value, authority. Hook, story, value, authority. I want you to say that to yourself when you're on your morning jog or you're going to sleep. I don't know. But hook, story, value, authority. That's what you have to have in your posts. Story is so important. Structure without manipulation. So it's there for the value, right? The authority is why people should listen to you, not just like, why can't they just go to Google for that information? It just means like, I, experience this is what I learned. In my experience, they're probably the 3 most valuable words that you can be thinking of when you write a post, okay? Now, before we go to Christmas and we all eat too much and drink too much and chew our relatives' ears off, right? I want you guys to sit down and make a plan. Make it realistic. How often are you going to post? How many invites are you going to send? What are your goals this year? Okay, because that's how you get successful. Like, you got to map them out. If you don't get my LinkedIn content planner, you're bloody crazy. No, I'm joking. You can do it any way you want, but make sure you plan it and make sure it's in something that you will refer back to. Okay, we all compare ourselves and our progress to someone else's highlight reel, and we forget why we started. What I'm suggesting is write it down so you can compare what your results with where you were planned to be. Okay, because you don't want to be feeling like that. You want to feel like you're making progress. Progress is the key, the secret to happiness. Okay, quick interactive moment before we wrap up. Not tearing up Storm Dawson, ladies and gentlemen. If I missed any comments, here we go. Emotions, 100. I think initially emotions. So if you don't capture that, you're screwed. Andy's catching on for sure, 100%. And emotion can be certainty, it can be confidence as well, and you can give people confidence. How? By having a process. Simple as that. Just having a process gives people confidence. A lot of people don't have a process. I used to get a lot of podcast guests just by having a podcast guest process. In your analytics, you can now see the content that you engage with the most. If you go and do, what's that feature called, Storm, which we looked at recently, where it's like the person's content that you followed the most. It's called LinkedIn Wrap Up or something. So go check yours out. I don't know how to do it. Storm, if you're still here, could you post a link maybe in the comments? That's a lot of fun, actually. I enjoyed looking at that. And I think it's important to know what you've been following and what you've engaged the most with. It's a fun question, right? And maybe come back to the comments in this thread and let me know who you think showed up, who showed up in your feed. But also, like, I want to know who you think showed up the most in my LinkedIn year in review. Drop your guesses in the comments. I'll let you know a bit later. Whoever does the best post about the biggest takeaway from Monday Night Live this week, I'm going to give an hour coaching session. It's $1,000 US worth of coaching. When I give these away, when we do a reward for the best post, I normally do half an hour. So this is a full hour. So it gives you giving me time to really deep dive into your strategy, and it's all personalized to you. So you're going to get a lot of value out of that. So make sure you take advantage, guys. If you want some coaching, and you don't want to spend $1,000, post about the biggest takeaway you learned. And it can be that Australians wear cool hats. Why is it gone all floppy? What's going on here? What's my bloody hat gone floppy for? Is it because it hit the fan? Okay, guys. So because who you engage with will influence you. You need to decide who you're being influenced by. Monday Night Live's not going anywhere, guys. I'm going to be doing it every week. I'm taking a short break over the Christmas period, but we'll be back very early in January. So keep an eye out for the post. I just want to tell you how I'm going to make sure that you don't miss an episode. What I want you to do is save a link for me. It's called bibby.consulting, bibby.consulting/live, bibby.consulting/live. What we're going to do is every week, that link will land on the episode that's coming up for that week. So you bookmark it, you have it in your bookmarks bar, and all you have to do is press that every Monday to come join the live. Because it's not easy finding the link on LinkedIn, is it? We're on live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, but mate, LinkedIn's where the party is, guys. So come join us and make sure you put that in your bookmark bar, bibby.consulting, bibby.consulting/live. Okay. So next year, I'm going to go deep in consistency. I've got some awesome guests lined up already. Some big names from the US you definitely would have heard of before. More psychology. I'm doing a big event in Australia towards the end of next year called Unstoppable. It's a new area for me, but I'm talking about psychology, what holds people back. More leadership. Okay. So make sure you bookmark bibby.consulting/live. Let me know when you've done it. That link will always take you where you need to be. And growth doesn't come from intensity. It comes from return. This year didn't reward perfection. It rewarded presence. It rewarded people who stayed visible when it felt uncomfortable, who spoke when they weren't sure, who stayed in the room long enough to be recognized. Just like Storm did, right? Just like the audience here at Monday Night Live. And if you didn't, tonight is not a guilt trip. It's an invitation. Join us, the Monday Night Live squad. Come back, right? It's free to be here, which means people don't show up every week. If this was paid, people would be here because they've invested in it. My challenge to you is show up anyway. Make the commitment. Build that trust with yourself. Build that self-confidence by following through. Because I swear to you, if you make that commitment when it comes to your sales and marketing and the growth of your business, it'll look completely different. I've seen so many people, transform their businesses through coming regularly to something like this, where we're constantly talking about new areas, different topics, and holding you accountable, because knowledge is useless without execution, my friends. I'm just going to drop that link here on the, thanks for doing that, Storm. LinkedIn wrapped up. That's it. Yeah, wrapped up. You guys know what I'm talking about. And you got the planner link there as well. So let me know your biggest takeaway. Drop a comment. You're going to have to use the hashtag Monday Night Live, Monday Night Live, and make sure you tag me, okay? And just remember, like, your story is worth telling, right? I think you're special. I know you're special. A lot of us don't think that our story is worth hearing, and I'm just here to tell you that you will find out when you start sharing that it is. The more you share, the better you'll deliver it, okay? Thank you for this year, guys. It means the world to me that you've trusted your Monday nights with me, even if it's not every night. Thank you for being engaging in the comments. Thank you for giving me feedback. Thank you for making this a community. It means the world to me. It really does mean a lot. And have a bloody brilliant Christmas. Get some rest, reflect, reset. And I'll see you next year, guys. And remember, knowledge without execution is useless. So go out there and execute, my friends. Stay legendary and Merry Christmas.